Prices are absolutely being slashed right now with new construction. On average, the national average, prices are down over 15%. New home builders right now are hiding massive amounts of inventory and almost doubling buyers' commission to try to entice them to bring their buyers into their developments to sell their houses, you guys. Buying incentives right now are absolutely unprecedented, and new construction will continue to lead the nation in price cuts.
You're a home buyer, somebody or a young person looking to buy a home, you need a bit of a reset.
There is a possibility on the other side of this that inflation could actually be quite low.
Welcome back to Real Estate Mindset. Today's video is going to be absolutely bonkers. Now, the data is in, and today I'm going to give you guys a full in-depth report on what's happening with new construction. Right now, as it stands, we are past the 15% price decline that I have defined for a bare minimum crash. We're going to cover all of those stats, but before I do, you guys, please don't forget, for all of the effort for putting all of this together, like this video, subscribe if you haven't already, shoot me a comment below, and don't forget to share this video. But where I want to start, you guys, is let's jump right into the absolutely incredible buying incentives that new home builders are offering right now. Starting with the number 2 home builder in the nation, Pulte. You guys can see that Pulte is offering a 5.75 30-year fixed rate mortgage. That's about 2.5% under the market's average interest rate. Lennar, the number 2 builder in America, is also offering outrageous buying incentives at a 4.75 30-year fixed rate mortgage. In other words, new home builders are trying to do everything in their power not to have to drop prices. And the fact is, that's not working. So all of the bulls that are talking about the housing market, how many of them are talking about new construction? I can pretty much tell you almost no bull in real estate right now is talking about new construction, because the data is absolutely a nightmare for anyone that believes the housing market is stable and solid and is going to be okay. We can see that in the desperation of some of these builders. Some of these builders are trying to close to double the buyer's commission to entice them to bring their buyers to their communities. Take a look. And you guys can see the bottom here. This is dated today, November 1st at 6:41 a.m. So this is going on right now. You guys can see to the left of my head, they're offering buyer's agent 5% commission. I mean, think about this, guys. Whatever it takes not to give the buyers the price cuts. They're doing everything in their power, including going behind the buyer's back and doubling up on commission. It's absolutely wild right now, especially when you consider Lennar took away realtors' commission during COVID. So now they're like, actually, we need you realtors. Please, we're begging you, please bring your buyers here because we have too much inventory. The price cuts aren't working and we cannot sell our homes. Let's take a look at the price cuts. I would challenge anyone that wants to see this for themselves, just go to Lennar. Go to Lennar's website, put in your metro area, see what's going on there, and also do a Google search of new homes just to see if there's any other developments in your area. But let's take a look at a couple of these price cuts. You guys can see this first one here to the left of me was price cut almost $60,000. So from $274,000, this home was price cut all the way down $59,490 for a total of 21.6%. And that's on top of buying incentives. You guys, 21.6%. And look at that price point. That's $215,000. That is more affordable housing. Now look at the one under that. It went from $279,490 to $225,000. That's a price cut of $54,490. That accounts for a 19.4% price cut. And again, very affordable price point for most people. Now, if we move up a little bit on price point, you can see the one to the left of me was price cut from about $508 all the way down to $400,000. That represents almost $108,000 price cut. Right now, you guys can literally go to this website, find out for yourself, and that equals y'all 21.2% price cut. Think about all the people that purchased that model of house for the elevated price. Think about that. If they put 20% down, that's basically wiped away. Because remember, you guys, generally to determine value, an appraisal is done. In order for the value to be determined on an appraisal, the appraiser has to use comps or sold property in only the subdivision. We can't go to a different subdivision. We got to go to the subdivision where the homes are selling. When they sell for 20% less, you guys, it only takes 3 comps to change an entire subdivision's value. When we go to Fred economic data and look at the median sales price for just new homes to get a better idea of what's going around the nation, we see that this is going around all over the place, not just Texas. So again, looking at this chart, new home values never rebounded in value despite the unprecedented buying incentives. Please understand what I'm saying. So when inventory does come back with existing homes, the same thing is going to happen. I mean, look at guys, prices peaked in October of 2022 at $496,800. They have dropped $78,000 and are now sitting at a median sales price average of $418,800. You guys, that represents a national average price decline of 15.7%. So I may have been off on my timing when it comes to existing homes, but I was definitely not off when I told you guys that new construction and new homes would lead in price declines. And we see that because we have 4 metro areas. Top 4 price declining metro areas are all in Texas, which has some of the most new construction building. I see building and supply all over the place. In fact, let's go into inventory and supply right now. So despite what these lead generating realtors are saying, we have way more than 1 point some months of supply available on the market. It's absolutely mind-blowing to me that people aren't doing something about these realtors that are lying through their teeth to get you to purchase a house and to spread the fear of missing out. Because the reality is, the minimum, you guys, we have actually more than this, and I'm going to show you that here in a minute, but the minimum amount of supply that we have right now is 6.9 months. Again, we have more than that. That's just what this is saying. Now, remember, you guys, in order for the market to be considered a buyer's market, all we need is 6 months of supply. So new construction has been a buyer's market for at least a year, and no one, absolutely no one that is bullish wants to talk about new construction. We have hyper supply right now in new construction. To put this in perspective, let's see how many units were completed, and let's try to figure out on our own how much supply we really have. Now, the total amount of units that are going to be completed this year, and this is an annualized rate, by the way, is 1.45 million. Now, the thing is, this is total units. So what I had to do is separate 5 units from SFRs, and here's what I got. For just looking at single-family residential units, you guys, we have almost 1 million homes that will be completed. Again, 998,000 homes to be completed. So we got roughly 1 million homes. Now, let me show you how many homes are expected to be sold by going to the U.S. Census Bureau. As you can see here, this is an annualized basis, but new home sales are going to be roughly 759,000. So again, in 1 year, 759,000 homes sold, and in 1 year, 1 million homes being built, which means realistically, how many months of supply do we actually have? If I'm not mistaken, and correct me if I'm wrong, please, we have 16 to 18 months of inventory for new home construction right now. One of the problems and why we don't see this is because the lack of transparency and the lack of regulation. The new home builders do not have to list the transactions and properties on MLS. So we don't know, we have no idea how much inventory and spec homes there actually is. And what I'm specifically telling to you guys, we have 16 to 18 months. They have so much inventory, the cat's just not 100% out of the bag yet. Just to give you guys an idea of how much inventory that they actually have, or shadow inventory, let me pull up MLS. So y'all may have seen my boots on the ground video where I actually walk this subdivision. This is Harrington Trails. There's about 45 active listings right now. But remember, you guys, when I walked this property, I counted over 150 spec homes. And again, they're only listing 45. So let me zoom into this for you guys, okay? So here's the issue, okay? Pretty much when I walked there, when I drove out to this community, pretty much all of these streets right here, like Southern Valley, Rolling Streams, Dusk, Timberland, Pines, is stacked side by side of spec homes right next to each other. There's literally 100 houses sitting right here where I'm circling that are not being reported. So how could anyone say whether we have a shortage of inventory or not when most of the inventory is not even being reported? You guys, there's 3 times more spec homes in inventory than what's even being listed on MLS. If you don't believe me, go to this subdivision and drive it for yourself. The problem is only getting worse. They have not stopped the building. They continue to build at unprecedented speeds. And on top of that, buying demand right now continues to get absolutely wrecked. Unaffordability right now for consumers is unprecedented, probably a result of the equity going up 50% in 3 years, interest rates absolutely skyrocketing. We actually had a daily average of over 8% a couple times the last 2 weeks. Right now, the weekly average is sitting at 7.79%. But the reality here is the trajectory of interest rate increases has been unprecedented. This is an even stronger rate hike than in the 70s and 80s. Interest rates doubled in a year. They have never, ever doubled in a year. And it's really important to understand that we're coming out at 2 and 3%. In the 70s and 80s, they started at 8% and then went up from there. We were starting way lower because the consumer is in such bad shape, at least from an affordability standpoint. So now let's talk about what they currently have under construction right now, because we've looked at the price cuts, we've looked at inventory, we've looked at buying incentives, all great things. But the thing is we need them to continue to build homes. So let me show you the data on what's under construction. Now, you can see from this chart, overall, we have an unprecedented amount of homes under construction right now. In fact, we have never, ever, ever had this many homes being under construction. But the thing is this counts total units. So this also counts apartments, which is very important because of the long-term rental market. This problem is going to get worse for a substantial period of time. But let me show you guys permits. So here's permits sitting at 1.47 million. Now, it's important to note that this is down from the peak of 1.94 million. So it is down, but we are still right around where we were at pre-COVID. Now, the thing is we don't want them to stop building. We want them to continue building, but building affordable houses that normal Americans can afford without having to pay half of their paycheck to their mortgage. Now, here's what I'm thinking. We're going to get our initial price drops. It's going to be good. This is all in the front end of a recession. So we haven't even gone into a recession. There's not even unhinged unemployment. But what I believe is going to happen is eventually these new home builders are going to stop building, because no one's going to want to buy houses. No one's going to be able to qualify for houses. Now, when they stop building, that can become a major problem. So what I think might happen is when these new home builders stop building, the Federal Reserve might start cutting interest rates to entice them to start building again. Now, let me explain to you what would happen if the Federal Reserve cut interest rates. Now, first of all, the longer that we stay elevated, the less buying demand there will be by the time the interest rates come down. But if tomorrow, say, the interest rates went down to just say the low 6%, I could tell you guys right now that initially, again, just at first, this is why we don't want to wait too long. We want to prepare ourselves now, but there's going to be probably 1 million listings coming to the market. Think of all of the sellers that are handcuffed on the sidelines. So by them trying to entice the builders, I believe they're going to inadvertently continue to crash the housing market, because once you remove the golden handcuffs, those people are going to flood back in the market at the same time that the Fed is cutting interest rates. So whatever bad thing is happening when they start cutting interest rates, just remember, you guys, more than likely we are going to get a massive influx of inventory. But again, the thing is, will buying demand be low enough to sustain the housing market for decades? That's something that I don't know, because we have so much institutional investing. But I do believe that we will be presented with a window of purchasing opportunity that is right around the corner. I hope you enjoyed learning about new construction. I think it is very, very important to follow that. Roughly 1/3 of active listings are new construction. So again, there's grounds to follow it. It makes sense that it is leading in price cuts, and that will spread to resale. Other than that, guys, if you're out there investing in real estate, you know I wish you luck, and I hope you win.